Hi, my name is Emery. I'm the Sacho boss. What do we call it here? Tailing.
Chair, president.
Chair, president, something or other. We're very anti-structure as much as possible, so we don't really have names yet. But I've been running the Hackerspace for about 4 of its 6 years.
Within my request.
And we have a couple of administrators that help us out. Yeah. Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi. And what is it the first floor of your hackerspace?
We're actually right now on the 2nd floor in a small office. I can give you a spin around.
Yeah.
And then at some point we can go downstairs and take a look at that too. So we just moved into this space earlier this year. So we're still kind of putting it together. We've had, let's see, 1, 2, 3. This is our 4th location. Typically, we've been like scaling down. So every time we move, it got smaller and smaller. Our first space was quite large. It was 2 floors. It was like a big house with a garden and a parking space. It was really nice, but it was also very, very expensive space in Tokyo. So our next space was an office that we shared with somebody else. We had to take all of our supplies and everything that we had that was filling up a 2-floor house and try to squeeze it into this little office room, which was really difficult. And during that time, we really couldn't do much of anything. There's not a lot of activity. After that, we moved to a 2-car garage. But again, we didn't have an office, so we were still kind of crammed. Now this is like the perfect place because we have an office upstairs where we can do things with air conditioning. We can do our electronics and classes. And then downstairs, we have a garage workspace where people can do welding and fixing cars and making bicycles and whatever they want to do. So let me give you a tour of the top floor here. It's a pretty small office, so it won't take that long, just a spin. Well, first, Akira.
Yes. Hi. Hello.
So Akira and I are the ones who have signed for this space. So he's our Japanese co-manager. He doesn't like to have any titles, so... Yeah, so we have our 3D printer down here. It's Ultimaker. Ultimaker was actually nice enough to donate this to us. They came for a visit and saw that we didn't have one yet, and they're like, "Why don't you have a 3D printer?" Well, we haven't put the money together for it. Why don't you have an Ultimaker 3D printer? Because you didn't send us one, so they sent us one.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's quite nice. Yeah, so our upstairs space is not so huge. Enough room for a couple of tables. We do have a projection screen in the back here. This is where we sell all of our parts and kits. IT Syndicate, yeah. So we have some kits that we sell, some things from Mitch Altman, and let's see, we have Javelino, Arduino sets, and mini parts.
Okay.
And then if we go outside, this is the boring part, going down the stairs. Henry! Hey, say hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Another one of our members. Yeah.
Cool.
So we have a...
Is it morning in Tokyo today?
It's not so hot. It's been cooling off. Today is a little bit warmer than the last few days, but it's not so hot today. Is it officially fall?
Yes, from September, yeah. Aki desu.
Yes. So Japan has a set rule. it becomes fall from September 1st, no matter what the weather is. And people start dressing accordingly. Sometimes you see people already wearing leggings. And
Right.
it's like, you're crazy.
So,
So today, actually, we have an event called 555 Matsuri. Matsuri is like Japanese for festival. And so this is a 555 timer festival. So the idea is that we get a bunch of people together. We throw a bunch of 5.5 timer ICs at them and say, make something cool and see what happens. So we're going to see how that works out.
So you are welcoming people, just like Japanese people from the hackerspace?
Until recently, we've been mostly native, or not native, I'm sorry, foreign people. Most of our administrators are foreigners, and it was started by foreign people. But we're trying really hard to get more native Japanese into the space and using the space. So Akira has part of that challenge.
Yes.
So we have lots of parts storage, members boxes, racks, and whatever you need. One of the things I liked about this space when we got it is that it's in the back, from the floor all the way to the ceiling. We have storage racks already in the space. And then when we added our own, it just suddenly we have a lot more space to do stuff. We have space to actually use the tools.
This is my favorite one.
Yeah. So Akira, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do for work and why you joined the space?
Work means a job.
Yeah.
I am developing a truck. I am designing for the truck IP maker in Japanese automotive manufacturer. And my hobby also is repairing or restoring the very old car. So, but I can hardly to get the power tools or the like this in my apartment.
Yeah, so you have an apartment, right? Most people in Japan have an apartment.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's one of the reasons that, and I like the hackerspace.
Yeah.
we can use these kind of tools. Yeah.
So what kind of car are you restoring?
MG 1953.
53 MG. Yeah. Wow. Where do you can't keep that in your apartment? Where do you store the MG?
Just under the apartment parking.
Ah, so you have a parking space,
Yes.
but it's not a garage.
Not the garage.
So having machine tools is nice, yeah.
Yes. And also, of course, many people are here. Are very nice people.
Yeah, nice people, and you can study English, yeah.
Yes.
So we also have our tiny.
Okay, so that's some laser.
Laser cutter?
Yeah,
Laser cutter.
laser cutter.
Oh yeah.
It's just one of the cheap Chinese ones, but it works well. I'm sure a lot of people have seen these things by now, but
Yeah.
eventually we want to start hacking it and making it bigger. And the controller for the Chinese lasers is not so good, so we hope to improve that. One of many projects.
Okay, and so you said that some guys were making bikes.
Yeah. So well, Henry also works on his motorcycle. Like Akira works on car parts, Henry works on a motorcycle here. Because again, he can't actually do that in his home apartment.
Okay.
And how do you explain you are the only hackerspace in Tokyo and you have moved from place to place and it's a hackerspace funded by foreign people? Is it is the DIY movement not so active in Japan?
Well, not Japan, but certainly Tokyo. One of the things I've been wrestling with over the last, kind of 6 months is how do we differentiate between the hackerspace in the sense that I think everybody here understands, which is a community-powered space that's nonprofit, that everybody's putting their own time and effort into, versus a commercial space. So if you want to talk about commercial spaces, there are many commercial hacker spaces in Tokyo. But we are the only one that is nonprofit and powered by ourselves.
You mean when you mean commercial, is that people are paying a lot, maybe a lot, but quite an amount of money to get access to the machines? That's the idea?
Yeah, so we have a membership fee too. Our membership is 5,000 yen a month. But we also have 2 open free nights every week where you don't have to be a member to come in and use the tools. A commercial space, the other commercial spaces here are registered businesses. They're here to make a profit. And one of the significant ways that becomes apparent is, yes, the membership fees to join those spaces is typically much higher. You're also required to take training classes on all the tools, but you really can't modify the space in any way. You know, it's like the space, those spaces are a business and you're a guest using the business.
Just
Whereas
like tech shop in the States?
Yeah, exactly. They're like tech shops or fab cafes, these kinds of spaces, which are good. And I think there's room for both, and they need to exist for the more casual person or the person who doesn't have the skills yet. You know, those spaces are fantastic.
But your challenge is to try to differentiate from those kinds of places.
Yeah, so since the article came out in Makery, you know, I was kind of looking at it and how it came across, and it started to concern me a little bit. And people started asking, like, well, there are other makerspaces in Tokyo. And I was like, okay, well, now we're at that point where we have to differentiate. When we first started, there was one other space. So there was 2 in Tokyo, but that other space was a closed membership. It consisted of 5 people, and they didn't allow new members into their space. It was basically like a hacker collective, but they were very closed. So again, we were the only space that existed. Not long after we started, a lot of commercial spaces also began. So all along, we kind of wrestled with the idea of, like, what is the difference between the two? Is there a difference? Is that difference important? And I think it is. It's a community issue, I think, that needs to be thought about by other spaces.
So what can you tell us about your projects?
Projects. Right now, Talon is one of our administrators. Again, another foreign person from Turkey. He's actually working on a project right now to turn off soldering irons on a predetermined amount of time. We've had some issues in the space with people finishing their work and leaving irons on, or leaving the air conditioner on.
You know, it's late at night. You cannot blame them. They're tired.
Yeah, they're leaving late at night. They're kind of dashing out to catch the last train, and they forget to turn off an iron or something. So our dangerous items, we want to turn off automatically after a certain period of time. So in this case, it'll be a button. You press it, and it gives you like 30 minutes of time, and then it shuts off. And then you have to press it again if you want to continue working. That way we don't burn the place down.
Do you document your projects?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you document your projects? I mean, this kind of tool will be very useful for many hackerspaces in the world.
Yeah, of course, Talon will document his project on his own personal blog. We're in the process of rebuilding our website so that it's easier to document projects on our site. But then we have there's Instructables, there's Make, there's
We have a GitHub.
we have our own GitHub account, of course. But then there's also what is it Hackaday? Hackaday has Hackaday.io. We have an account there, which we're not really using effectively yet. So another issue is like there's too many options for documenting projects right now. So what's the best way?
I think it's a big problem for many hackerspaces in the world, not only yours.
Yeah, I think it's a good problem to have, though.
Okay. Do you have something else to tell us, or
Something extra to tell? Akira, do you want to say something in Japanese?
こんにちは。Hello.
hello?
何を言えばいい？
Just say something about like how hackerspaces are fantastic and people need to join.
Maybe you can tell us how did you discover the hackerspace and how did you get there in the first place?
So in Japanese or
English probably.
Yeah, you could say Japanese first and then after do
okay.
English. So how did you discover Tokyo Hackerspace?
Yeah, this because I found it here in the event for the Maker Fair Tokyo 2000 last year, so 14.
Maker Fair.
Maker Fair Tokyo, and I got the flyer from the maybe you.
Yeah. So advertising is really useful.
Would you like to say it in Japanese?
2014年のメーカーフェア東京で、チラシをもらいまして、それでここを知ることになりました。すごく楽しい、たくさん、いろいろな国の人がいるところは日本ではとても珍しいので、This place is there are many people who came from the various countries. This kinds of space is very rare or very rare case in Tokyo. So this is fantastic. Every country people make and people just want to something to make is really fantastic.
So yeah, even our foreign members are all from very different countries.
Correct.
So you have an opportunity to practice language and meet different cultures and work on projects together.
Correct.
Which is really fun.
Even different country or different culture, but people want to make something is same.
So.
Thank you so much. I think how do you say it in Japanese? Sayonara is goodbye. No? Sayonara.
ありがとうございました。さよなら。
Sayonara. Bye. Great. And, thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having such a terrible schedule for yourself.